Number 10, I am all for machines helping us with different tasks, but there shouldn't be any doubt that nature is here for us. For humans, nature gives us everything we need: food, water, light, medicine, shelter, building materials, inspiration. Not to speak of happiness, joy, fulfillment, and peace, it is also proven that we can enhance the growth of plants by directing positive thoughts and energy towards them. Having your own garden to grow fruit, vegetables can also give people a sense of meaningful lives. Isn't it important to talk more about these things instead of just focusing on machines doing all the work for us? I'm talking about happiness, meaningful lives, closeness to nature, and such. Okay, well, there's an age-old kind of, well, a traditionalized argument that comes up a lot where they say, well, what you're doing with the Venus Project or the resource-based economy is materialism, and it's not, quote, spiritual, and it's detached from nature. We're not doing this and that. The first thing I would say that nature is really a process. It isn't just flowers growing, it isn't grass growing. Nature is a procedural process. It's perpetually changing and unfolding. Nanotechnology might be considered an extremely advanced form of science and might be considered scary and artificial to some people, but what is nanotechnology really? Nanotechnology is mimicking the cellular behavior that exists in the human body or in many different organisms, both living and non-living. You basically, if you cut yourself, you have little machines that run in through your bloodstream and they go and repair white blood cells. These are machines that have a job to do and they're triggered by your central nervous system. Nanotechnology is exactly the same thing. Nanotechnology is extremely natural in its concept because it understands that the building blocks of nature, and it tries to utilize the building blocks of nature to create things in a more efficient way, in a more sustainable way, I think, as well. So I'd have to redefine nature on that level. As far as your other points of fulfillment, the whole goal is to eliminate all of the arduous, bothersome things that we deal with and the turmoil that we deal with every day today, to let people actually make a life and not a living, to actually live their lives in a pleasant way, not being slaves to a corporation for their entire lives. This is, our system today does not condone human progress and human fulfillment. In fact, the more fulfilled people are in our society, the less money that can be made. Just take a look at advertising. And again, I know this isn't related to your question, but I think it's worth pointing out. The more fulfilled people become, the more satisfied with what they have, the less money that can be circulated, and that destroys the economy. So it's been in the interest of Western advertising agencies to make sure people feel very uneasy and very dissatisfied with their lives. So nature gives us everything we need, as you state, food, air, and water. Yes, it does, and we are going to understand nature and begin to help nature, to assist the evolution of processes. Not to say we could just say, okay, we grow food on land. What happens when the population becomes too big and there isn't enough arable land to support the population? Well, then we have to move into higher order technologies such as hydroponics. This is nature continuing. We are nature. The process of science and technology and creation is nature itself. Nature is a creative force in the universe, if you will, if you want to give it a romantic notion. That's the way I would describe it without getting too metaphysical, if you will. But I think creativity is a natural process, and all we're doing is trying to sustain the species, and the only way you can sustain a species is through natural law, and hence nature itself. There's no other path. That's why we're so unnatural today, because we're on a path of destruction, as I think many of you might be recognizing.